One of the main issues with common ownership today is that since the growth of institutional investment and since the growth of the web of links between firms because of common ownership and also cross-ownership, there are some concerns that competition may be impaired, in particular in those industries where the common ownership links at the industry level are quite important. There starts to be some evidence that common ownership at the industry level impacts on competition, in particular in the sectors of airlines and banking, but also others. So there is also some cross-industry evidence to this effect. All this evidence is still preliminary, and the studies will have to be validated with further work. Yeah, basically the evidence I think has some credibility indeed. Some is already forthcoming in leading journals, but still, as I mentioned, it needs to be cross-validated with new work in different directions. Well, I do not know the specifics of whether the data has been disclosed or not in the different work in this area. What I'm sure is that at the end of the day, once those papers and working papers are published in leading journals, the data will be disclosed. The areas of research which may be important in the future are several. One is to understand better the theoretical mechanism by which the different types of common ownership, be it with silent finance interest, proportional control, or with different degrees of control, or cross-ownership across firms, impact on the degree of profit internalization of rivals, which is at the bottom, if you want, at the foundation of the competition concerns. So this is one area. The other area would be empirical. How do you translate those theoretical mechanisms into mechanisms which are concrete in the markets and with the different corporate governance structure, given the data we have? Well, global investors and large funds, I think they face this dilemma of, in principle, the authorities want them to be more involved in firms because this would better corporate governance, and at the same time, they may be worried of the consequences for competition in some cases. So my opinion is that those funds should do both, in the sense they should insist on improving corporate governance of firms, but with being very careful not to step outside of the realm of good competition practices, which do not lead into antitrust problems. I think that ECGI is playing a very important role in putting together academics, regulators, and practitioners on very important topical issues like this one. So the conference that we just had is just a very good example of the contribution I think of ECGI can make.